Hello everybody, this is Con, and today I'm reviewing the facelifted Volkswagen Golf 7 TSI. Okay, so the Golf 7 has been with us since 2012, and well, the Malaysia launch was in 2013. All the while, the Golf 7 has been available with us in the 1.4 TSI, the GTI, as well as the Golf R. So this Mark 7.5 Golf, okay, it's a very heavily updated version of the 7th generation Golf. It was introduced in Malaysia early this year rather, and it continues to be offered with the same 3 engine choices. You've got the 1.4 TSI, you've got the 2.0 GTI, and you've got the 2.0 R. Okay, so the 1.4 TSI that I'm driving here, okay, this is the second of 2 specs available. You get the 1.4 TSI Sport line, and this is the higher of the 2 available grades. This is the 1.4 TSI R line. So outside it is fitted with all the more garang looking bits, okay, that mimics the appearance of the flagship Golf R model. So on the road, this car is going for thereabouts of 160,000 ringgit, so not exactly cheap. But bear in mind that in 2010, when the Golf 6 was first launched in Malaysia, right, that one had the previous generation twin-charged 1.4 TSI engine, which was more powerful, but that car had way less equipment and was also selling for thereabouts of 160,000 ringgit. Okay, so this Mark 7.5 Golf, okay, compared to the pre-facelift Mark 7 Golf, this car has significantly more equipment. It continues to use the same 1.4 TSI engine, but the outputs are raised by a significant margin. Okay, right now it pushes out 150 PS, 250 Newton meters of torque. Previously, the Golf 7 pushed out 140 PS, 250 Newton meters of torque. The Golf 6 twin-charged 1.4 TSI, that one pushed out 160 PS, but less torque, 240 Newton meters. So coming back to this Golf 7.5 TSI facelift. And yeah, so this car testing here is the R line, and without further ado, we adjourn outside for a walk around. Okay, so this is the exterior of the Golf R line. This is the higher of 2 versions of the Golf 1.4 TSI. The base model is the Sport line. This R line here is a slightly more atas, better decorated spec of the Golf 1.4 TSI. So you have the R line badge here. You get this more aggressive, black colored trimmings along the front bumper, and of course this very distinctive, very stylish mustard yellow paint. Okay, so these are 17-inch alloy wheels. They resemble the units used in the Golf R, but of course they measure 2 inches smaller lah. Okay, another R line badge here. Then this sleek side mirror complete with integrated blinkers. Okay, notice down along the lower section of the side, there's this darkened side skirts. Okay, the the mini shark fin antenna there is darkened as well, and you see this the tail lights is also given this slightly darker tint to it, and the lower edge of the bumper also blackened out. Okay, this exhaust tips fake one. Okay, this is fake one. Yeah, the real exhaust tips. Where's the real exhaust? The real exhaust is actually there. So you notice here, this section also has this darkened trim, and of course you see this 280 TSI badge that denotes the 1.4 liter TSI engine tuned to 250 Newton meters of torque. As introduced earlier, the current Volkswagen badging corresponds roughly but not exactly to the engine's torque figures. So yeah, you see 280 TSI, it corresponds to roughly to any car between at 250 to 300 Newton meters, it's 280 TSI. Okay, now the Golf R line here also comes with reverse camera, and it's integrated nicely into the Volkswagen, underneath the Volkswagen logo, if you can see here. Well, but it's hidden. Okay, so let's look inside the boot. Okay, so well, for a hatchback, this is a decently sized boot. You've got these two compartments here. Wow, pretty deep. These two compartments are pretty deep, so you can drop small items here, but do remember to check inside there you don't have missing items stowing away there. These two hooks are useful for you to hang your grocery bags. Okay, and then there's a 12-volt socket here, and this little hook here, if you like, is actually here to hold the tonneau cover in case you decide to release it. If you decide to release the tonneau cover here, this functions to hold the tonneau cover up. Okay, and so you can hang it back up. Okay, so let's look at the boot floor. So the boot floor is quite flush level with the upper lip, which means that when you carry heavy things, okay, when you lift heavy things, it does not have to drop so far down. So it's very easy for you to load heavy things into the car. But if you in situations where you absolutely need the extra carrying capacity, okay, so this is the spare tire. Inside there is a space saver spare tire, so you can drop this floor down. Okay, and that helps you free out about 3 inches of space. Okay, and added 3 inches of depth going further down. Okay, and of course, this being a hatchback, you get 60-40 split folding rear seats. Now let me tumble the seats down. Okay, you have to push it down. So as you fold the seats down, right, it joins the boot floor very nicely in a seamless fashion. So let's say when you raise this up, it is relatively flat, and that means that when you load heavy objects, it won't be rocking about inside here. All right, we'll first look at the back seat, and so here the door card, we have fabric inserts here, a little speaker here, and this door bin is pretty big. Okay, it's a pretty big door bin, big and deep, so you can drop drop objects as big as your wallet here. Not that we recommend it. And so this is a tweeter, another speaker here. This is a usefully deep bin. Okay, and looking here as well, you've got seat pockets on both seat backs. The center armrest here. This is actually a more intricate armrest than you get in the Passat. Okay, because so you see, you can take these two plastic pieces out and form a large compartment, or you can vary the compartmentalization of the various gaps here. So you can maybe put it like this. Okay, so you can leave a slot in between. So for example, you can just drop your mobile phone in here, that works, or you can just maximize the cup the cup storage. And here there's also this lid which allows you to connect direct to the luggage compartment. And of course, as illustrated earlier, the seats split fold. And the seat belts here, there's this nice runners here that guide the seat belt so it doesn't tangle with the folding operation of the seat. This is a very simple yet thoughtful touch. Okay, individual headrests for each of the rear passengers. The middle row passenger seat belt comes, runs fixed. Is mounted on the seat back. So when you fold, okay, you don't have to worry about the rear seat belt the rear seat. The middle seat belt kacauing the movement, and neither do you have to pull it down from the roof. Okay, so and also you have isofix mounts. Now these isofix mounts here this is when after I had used it earlier. So when not in use, it doesn't seem to fit so nicely. Okay, stepping inside, you also got middle row aircon blowers, and no control, but it's fine. Okay, Surprisingly, no rear power sockets. And looking at available space now, I'm seated inside here. I'm 170 centimeters tall. I've got good leg room. Headroom is pretty alright, pretty decent headroom. And yeah, good support from the rear headrests. You also got these two useful hooks here to hook your groceries. And yeah. Okay, so go to the front. Okay, let's look inside the front. Open up this is the door card. Okay, nice metallic trim here, fabric inserts, and also this long door bin that goes actually all the way to the back edge of the door. So you really can drop quite a number of objects here. Be sure to clean this space often. You never know what can fall in there and never be heard from again. Yeah, so just the door cut alone, there is a very good mix of materials here. It makes this door cut look and feel nice and premium. Okay, and you look at the footwell area, metallic finish pedals, what you call it, scuff plates, all. It's very nice. It's very nice, nicely finished, good selection of materials. Steering wheel, flat bottom, and you look at the seats. There are these R pattern stitched here, and the seats. Okay, so you've got seats are manual adjustment, height adjustable, front back adjustable, and also recline adjustable. Okay, so step inside, start the engine. It's a very hot day. Right, so let's first look at the instrument cluster. Okay, this is what Volkswagen calls the active info display. So plenty of ways for you to customize this display, and you can configure this section of the screen to display various trip computer data, and so you can adjust you can set this to you can also set these auxiliary displays within the gauges, okay, to show different things. So now I'm setting consumption and range, or you can set gear and speed, or you can just leave it blank. Okay, you can just leave it blank, a classic blank look, up to you. Okay, and look at the center console. Okay, the overall layout and architecture of this is pretty still not significantly changed from the Golf 7 pre-facelift Golf 7. Okay, but the major change, you notice that the screen has been upsized. This is a bigger screen, and also the finishing around that screen also looks more upmarket. Let me switch this on and turn off the audio lah. And look at the displays. This is cool, actually. I have to say, this is cool. So all your preset stations, they can even show you the actual logos of each station. So this is very nice. And you have manual adjustment. You can just straight away if you remember your favorite frequency, you can just press near the area and and then you can fine tune the to the exact frequency that you want. Of course, then you go through the apps. You have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and MirrorLink. Then also you can set it to show your various trip computer data here. Okay, and of course, then menu. You go to menu. Then you have the swipe and pinch feature like your smartphone. Look here, this is the climate control. This seems to be the same as per the previous pre-facelift Golf 7, but this is not something that needed upgrading anyways. It was fine as it was. And the controls here, well, typical Volkswagen quality, feels very... It is a little... You can feel that it is not as solid as you would in an Audi or a BMW, but the tactile feel of it is pleasant. Right, when you turn, there's a slight degree of looseness to it, but it's not so bad lah. And here's the engine start stop button. Now, funnily enough, look from the top, right? Okay, you look from the top. This is the engine. This is the drive control mode. So when you press this, and when you go then you will activate, it brings up this screen for you to choose your driving modes. You can choose normal, sport, individual, your choice. Okay, so or you can just press that button. This feature, this I remember was missing in the Golf 7 last time. So when you can just cycle through the various modes by pressing the mode button as the driving mode button as well, or you can just press the driving mode button one time and hop to your preferred driving mode on the screen. This deactivates your auto start stop. This calls out the parking sensors. Now from here you can see, right, it's quite obvious that this was the arrangement of these switches. Okay, these two are driving related, critical driving related switches that you would expect them to be placed on the driver's side as opposed to be on the passenger side. So you can see that one area, Volkswagen decided that they were not going to bother to flip this for right-hand drive markets. Okay, so this lid opens up to reveal a rather deep storage bin. Okay, then there's also the USB port, aux jack in there as well, and this area is rubberized, so things wouldn't be slipping about inside there. Okay, now this is also another small area which I don't know what's good. You can fit there, maybe you can dump your coins. You have a 12-volt socket here, and this cup holder. Okay, this lid, this sliding lid with a molded cup holder inside. Center console box, well, it's deep. The base of it is rubberized as well, but you know, it's the cross section area of it is quite small, so you can put quite a number of small items in there, but we have seen bigger center console boxes in this segment. So this is the reverse camera. The image is image resolution is, well, I've seen better in the market lah. But as I always say, when it comes to reverse camera, right, it is good enough to have it at all as opposed to not having it. So what this does is that it does make the image does make the car, it doesn't look as expensive as this car should be. At this price range, I expect a clearer reverse camera than this. But where I'm concerned is, I'm just grateful enough that there is this extra pair of eyes that allows me to watch this space and ensure that there isn't a kid running around behind the car when I reverse. Yeah, so it's can be better, but good enough that it is even there. And of course, the other thing is that as you know, with screens from the touch screens of Volkswagens, when you put your hand, it's able to detect the presence of your hand. So as I move my hand closer, all these pop out, so it detects the presence of your screen and it enlarges this area to so that you can better hit the whatever is it that you are aiming to operate. Now, amongst its peers, amongst C segment hatchbacks, the Golf has always made a name for itself for having very assured handling. Okay, it is not as outright sporty as a Ford Focus or a Mazda 3, but you always know that a Golf has a certain minimum standard of handling that is still above the average that you typically expect from this segment. And when I say average, I'm talking about cars like, say, the Honda Civic, the Toyota Altis, the Nissan Sylphy, the Kia Stratos, and all that in that that baseline. The Golf is always that bit higher in the handling stakes. You always expect the Golf to carry itself that bit better around corners and at high speeds compared to the conventional Japanese or Korean C segment cars. And also the other thing that the Golf is known for is are its small capacity yet high performance TSI engines, that are always known to be punchy, on the throttle, yet at the same time very fuel efficient. So this Golf 7.5 with a much improved version of the EA211 1.4 TSI engine, turbocharged, it continues to carry that reputation. The engine is responsive on the throttle. When you tekan it hard, it goes. And also handling is very, very assuring. You know, this is a car that you know when you take it out on a highway, you carry speeds of 130, 140 kilometers per hour. You see a sweeping bend, you can continue to press on with absolute confidence. Yeah. So in terms of sheer dynamic balance of abilities, right, the Golf is actually pretty hard to beat in this segment. You can argue that the Mazda 3 is more agile, but the Mazda 3's engine does not pack the same kind of relentless punch as the Golf's TSI engine. It does not. Okay, so it's not to say that the Mazda 3 is not a nice car to drive, but next to the Golf, it admittedly does not feel as exciting when you floor the throttle. Okay, now also the other positive aspect of the Golf's driving experience is the ride comfort. Typical of a Continental car, the chassis feels firm. You know, when you go over bumps, it is not a magic carpet, but you can feel that, you know, as you hit that bump or that pothole, right, you feel the chassis just absorbing the shock, okay, and just dulling it out, so that you feel the presence of that disturbance underneath, but you don't get troubled by the experience. Yeah, and it has just enough pliancy to ensure that you still have good levels of composure if you are to decide to just floor your way through the terrain. Yeah, and of course, when you talk about the Golf or any Volkswagen car in general, the DSG topic cannot run away. Right? The conversation will always come back to DSG. Is it reliable or not? You know, and all that. Well, the newer batches of DSGs, now that they have experience fixing a few, they are a bit more robust now than they were before, and more importantly, relation to the driving experience, the transmission is a lot more refined at what you call it, at low speeds. So when you're caught in a traffic jam with a DSG, you're no longer really troubled by jerkiness and all that. Yeah, so the current generation Volkswagen dual clutch transmissions, they carry themselves a lot more smoothly in low traffic conditions, because as we all know, right, one of the biggest drawbacks of dual clutch transmissions, disregarding reliability question marks, is that they are very they can be rather jerky to operate, very unpleasant to use in traffic jams. So now with the Golf 7 and also with many other Volkswagen cars, they are actually quite smooth to use in a traffic jam. And Volkswagen, being amongst the first to pioneer the use of dual clutch transmissions, for better or worse, amongst mainstream cars, they now are amongst the most experienced in dual clutch technology in the market. So whatever it is, Volkswagen knows a thing or two about calibrating a dual clutch transmission. So the other thing that Volkswagen cars are pretty well known for, right, is actually they are very, very fuel efficient. Okay, take for example this Golf 7. Depending on the routes that I've been taking, right now I'm seeing 10.6 liters per 100 kilometer average, but I have seen the number dip as low as 6 or 8 liters per 100 kilometer, and that's without even trying in city driving conditions. Okay, right now this car came to me with a full tank. I've covered 120 kilometers on the clock, and the fuel gauge has only moved 1 bar, and I still have 500 kilometers of projected range left to go. So on the highway, right, you could imagine that this car would easily clock upwards of 700-800 kilometers per tank before needing to refuel. And that is sensational fuel economy for a car that is pulling 150 horsepower. So the overall conclusion of this car is the Golf 7 facelift. This is the Golf at its very best. I mean, the Golf, right, in Europe, back in Europe, this is a car that transcends class. You can think of this as the Myvi of Europe, and I mean it in a complimentary kind of way. Okay, this is a car, right, that whether you are an enthusiast, whether you are an uncle or a retired uncle or auntie, whether you are a housewife, whether you are a businessman, whether you are a fast-rising executive, this is a car that whoever you are, like, at whatever stage in life, if you are seen in this car, it does not say negative things about you at all. So this car is powerful, it is fuel efficient, it is comfortable, it is overall very pleasant to drive, very refined. I really have no bones to pick with it at all. Okay, back when the Golf 6 was introduced, one stick that you really can beat Volkswagen with was that the Golf 6, and then you can even say the Golf 7 that followed, they brought class-leading powertrain technology to the price range. Okay, because at that time when the Golf 6 was first introduced, the 160,000, 150,000 price bracket, right, never knew such a thing as turbocharged engine or dual clutch transmission. So the Volkswagen Golf brought that kind of advanced mechanical technology to that price range. But what it did not bring were fancy stuff like keyless entry lah, you know, reverse camera lah, or what. So the car, even though it has very advanced engine and transmission, but it is very, very kosong with regards to equipment. But this car, that's no longer the case. You get keyless entry, you get a reverse camera, not a very clear reverse camera, mind, but still you get a reverse camera, you get a beautiful touchscreen, you get this fancy instrument cluster, and you know, the full safety kit and all that. So equipment wise, this car is as complete as ever. So yeah, they have really given a very competitive level of specification for this car, equipment wise, as well as engine and transmission. So yeah, if you are shopping at this price range, right, the Golf really is a very, very capable all-rounder that does not have many weaknesses for you to pick. Right? So that's it. That concludes my thoughts on this facelifted Golf 7.5 1.4 TSI R-Line. Yeah, stay tuned for my next video, and to everybody, Selamat Hari Raya Puasa. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.